let me ask you something. When was the last time that you fully trusted someone? Not this surface level trust, and not I trust you to show up on time trust, but the kind of trust where you let someone see the parts of you that you don't show to anyone. If you had to think about this for more than a second, this conversation is for you. This is Coffee Talk with Paul. And tonight, we're going to talk about trust. Not the inspirational version, not the just open up and let people in version. That sounds simple until you try it. I'm talking about the real version of trust. What happens to trust when someone breaks it at the deepest level? Why it quite never works the same way again, and why some of the people who've been hurt the most end up trusting the wrong people over and over and over again. So let's talk about it. So most people think of trust as a choice. Like you decide to trust someone the same way you decide what to have for breakfast. But that's not how it works. Not really. And definitely not for people who have been through trauma or abuse. Trust isn't a decision. It's a feeling of safety. And safety, real safety, isn't someone you can think, it's not something you can think your way into. It's something your body either feels or it doesn't. When you've been through something that shattered your sense of safety, especially when it was caused by someone you trusted, your system recalibrates. It doesn't just recalibrate around that one person who hurt you. It recalibrates around everyone. Because your nervous system doesn't distinguish between the person who hurt you and the person standing in front of you today. It just knows that the last time I felt this, it cost me something. And so it stays on guard. Not because you're paranoid, not because you're damaged, but because it learns something real from a real experience. The problem is, it learned the wrong lesson. So, here's what most people don't understand about what abuse and trauma do to your ability to trust. It doesn't just make you distrust the person who hurt you. It actually makes you distrust your own judgment. Think about that for a second. You trusted someone, they hurt you. And somewhere in the aftermath, your brain started asking, how did I not see that coming? Or what did I miss? What does that say about my ability to read people? And that question, the quiet doubt about your own judgment, that is one of the most damaging things trauma does to a person. Because now it's not just other people that you don't trust, it's yourself. And when you don't trust your own judgment, you genuinely don't know if the person in front of you is safe or not. And you have two options. You either shut everyone out or you let everyone in. And both of those make complete sense when you understand where they come from. So, let me describe two ways that broken trust shows up, okay? We're going to talk about the two types of people, and I want you to tell me which one sounds more like you, okay? Raise this up just a little bit here. The first type builds walls. It keeps everyone at a distance, does not let people get close. And we talked about this in the last episode, the pushing away, the managed distance, and the hyper independence. That's one response to broken trust. But there's a second one, a second type. It doesn't get talked about as much. And that's the person that trusts too easily, who gives people the benefit of the doubt long past the point where the signs were clear, who mistakes intensity for intimacy, and who confuses someone needing them with someone loving them. They end up in relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, purely physical relationships, even work relationships with people who are unsafe. Again. And from the outside, it looks like bad judgment, like a pattern of poor choices, like someone who just keeps picking the wrong people. But here's what is actually happening. When your sense of what's normal gets shaped by abuse or trauma, especially in life, unsafe can feel familiar. Familiar feels comfortable. And comfortable gets mistaken for safe. So you're not picking the wrong people because something is wrong with you. You're picking the people who feel like what you already know. And what you already know was never safe to begin with. All right, I want to be honest with you about something. I have struggled with trust my entire adult life. Not just trusting other people, though that's real too, but trusting myself. Trusting my own read on people, trusting what I see in someone is actually there. So, when I was 12 years old, the person that destroyed my ability to trust was not a stranger. It was someone that my family trusted completely. Someone who had access to our lives because we believed he was safe. And for years, I said nothing. Not because I wasn't hurting, but because I had been threatened, because I was protecting the people I loved, because I didn't trust that telling the truth would make things better instead of worse. I confronted him when I was 17, but I did not tell my parents. I really didn't talk about it to anybody until I was 25. 13 years of carrying that. 13 years of knowing something that the people closest to me didn't know. And what that does to trust is it's hard to put into words. Because it's not that I just stopped trusting him. I stopped trusting the idea that people around me could handle the truth. I stopped trusting that being honest would be safe. And I stopped trusting that love, real love, could survive knowing everything about me. And I carried those beliefs into every relationship that I had after that. I have let people in who I shouldn't have. People who felt familiar in ways I didn't understand at the time. But looking back, the familiarity was the warning sign that I missed. I've also pushed away people who were genuinely good, who were patient and safe and consistent, and who did everything right, and I still couldn't fully let them in. Because trust doesn't care how good someone is. Trust cares about whether you feel safe enough to risk being wrong again. And for a long time, I didn't. So, I want to talk about something that people who haven't been through trauma sometimes struggle to understand. Why do survivors keep ending up with unsafe people? Because from the outside, it looks like a choice, and it looks like a pattern that should be easy to break once you see it. Just stop picking those people. Just choose better. It's not that simple. When chaos and unpredictability are what you grew up with, when walking on eggshells was your normal, calm can feel boring. Stability can feel suspicious, and someone who is constantly kind and present can feel almost unreal. Because what's the catch? There's always been a catch. There's always a catch. So you wait for it. And while you're waiting for the catch from the safe person, the unsafe person walks in. And they feel electric, intense, like they really see you, like the connection is immediate and deep. That feeling is a trauma response. It's not a character flaw. It's not stupidity. It's not weakness. A trauma response. Your nervous system recognizes the pattern, the highs and the low, the intensity, the unpredictability, and it says, I know this, and I know how to survive this. And survival feels like safety when you've never known anything different. Okay, here's what I want you to sit with tonight. Every time you trusted someone and they broke it, it wasn't just a painful experience. It was a confirmation of something your system already believed. People will hurt you. Openness is dangerous. And you are safer alone. And every confirmation makes the walls just a little higher. The distance is just a little wider, and the risk of trying again a little harder to justify. Until eventually, trusting anyone at all starts to feel like a gamble that you can't afford to take. And I understand that because I have lived that. But here's the truth that I have had to sit with myself. The absence of trust does not protect you from pain. It just guarantees a different kind of pain. It's the pain of never being fully known, the pain of being in a room full of people and still feeling that feeling of being completely alone, the pain of watching connection happen around you while you stand just far enough outside for it to feel safe. That is not living. That's surviving. And we've already talked about the difference between those two things. I'm not going to tell you how to fix this, because I don't think trust is something you can fix. I think it's something you rebuild slowly, carefully, in small moments with specific people over time. And we're going to talk about what that actually looks like in the next episode. Not the motivational version, not the just be vulnerable and magic happens version. The real version. What rebuilding trust actually requires. What it costs and why it's worth it, even when every part of you says it isn't. But for tonight, I want to leave you with this. If you've struggled to trust people, if you found yourself either shutting down and shutting everyone out or letting the wrong people in, if you've looked at your own patterns and felt ashamed of them, stop. Those patterns kept you alive, and they were the best tools that you had at the time. The goal isn't to be angry at yourself for having them. The goal is to understand where they come from well enough that you can start slowly and carefully to build something different. You deserve that. Even if part of you doesn't believe it yet, you deserve it. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time right here on Coffee Talk with Paul.